Welcome back to Frontline Insights. I'm Bill Brandt, and we are here at Interop 2011 in New York City. I'm here with Rob Collazo from Rackspace Hosting.
Hi, Bill.
Welcome to the show, Rob.
Thank you.
So, a lot of exciting things going on in the industry these days. A lot of talk about cloud, of course, and Rackspace is a big player in all that. Why don't you tell us a little bit about why you're here at the show and where you see things going from an industry perspective?
Okay. Well, we decided to come to the show. Obviously, Interop is a big part of our regular efforts to connect with the community and let people know that we're out there and some of the services that we have available. Cloud being one of the big things. One of the newest things that we're doing is managed cloud. So we've turned our fanatical support onto our cloud services as well, so that way people have a fully managed solution and don't have to take matters into their own hands, as it were.
So cloud's big, and Rackspace is a big player. Maybe you can break it down for us a little bit fundamentally for partners who want to get involved in the cloud. What are kind of the crawl, walk, run steps to helping them think about where they fit or how they can get their end users into this space a little bit?
Well, I think it's important for people in the ecosystem to determine, what's going to suit their customers best. What are their customers looking for? And thankfully, with Rackspace, there's a full suite of solutions that we have available. So not only cloud, but our managed hosting as well. We also offer email, Exchange hosting, SharePoint that are available through resellers, down to their end users. And the great thing is that we provide all the support. So it really allows people to focus on selling and getting their brand out there while we do all the heavy lifting.
How do you break down the different elements? So there's private cloud, there's public cloud, there's hybrid cloud, and I think where the industry's going, at least so far, there's a lot of private cloud discussions. Let's just start there. How do we get private cloud solutions out into the market with Rackspace and with partners? Where does everybody fit in there?
Well, it's pretty easy. To get it out there, just pick up the phone and call us. We also have a channel program that's available through our website. If you just go to rackspace.com, there is a channel portal there that allows people to sign up and get hooked into all the things that we do. With private cloud, depending on your end user needs, it may not be the most cost-effective solution because there's a lot of infrastructure involved, and it's not based on utility model like public cloud is. So there might be bigger
some
upfront.
On-premise, some with you. Is that
It's mostly all with us.
Okay.
Right, but it's not shared infrastructure, so it's dedicated.
So dedicated. They got to buy it specifically for their use only.
Yes.
As opposed to getting a cost savings of sharing it with other companies.
Right, which is one of the the big benefits of public cloud, right? Much like it'd be really kind of foolish to build your own power plant, in this day and age when you can just share that infrastructure with everybody on your block and kind of just pay for what you use. You flip the switch, you pay for what you use, you turn the switch off, and you're done, right? If nobody's occupying the building, then you don't have to worry about paying anything for electricity that month.
Do you think that do you guys see that most people are starting out with a private cloud though, to kind of dip their toe in it, get used to it, understand it, show some success within their IT organization, and then evolve from there? Or what are you saying?
Well, it really depends on their needs. There are some regulatory requirements. So public cloud isn't for everyone, especially if you're dealing with sensitive financial data. You can't have that on shared infrastructure. So if you're an e-commerce site, for example, maybe you're doing your web front end on public cloud, but you're doing all your credit card transactions on private cloud because that's not shared with anyone. So it really depends on what your industry is and what you're trying to accomplish. HIPAA, PCI compliance, those kinds of things are going to really determine where you start out. If you want to have really the cost benefits, you're going to look at maybe a hybrid model where you use public cloud and hybrid, public cloud and private cloud, or public cloud and then dedicated solutions, raw iron to do what you need to do.
So then they'd move up from a private cloud where they needed to be dedicated for whatever reason they'd move to public if they want to get those cost savings, like you
Right.
said. That's really the main difference. But there's some concerns in moving to public from a security perspective too, right?
There are some concerns, but I think it really is. If you start, with security in mind from the very beginning of your development cycle, it shouldn't be that big of a deal to transition from private to public. Providers like Rackspace and other cloud providers are taking steps to make sure that the infrastructure, the networking, the hypervisor, all of the underlying components are secure. Where we really see failures in cloud security are at the application layer. The simple things that have gotten people since the beginning of the web, right? SQL injections, buffer overflows, that kind of thing.
And then, as you were saying, they might consider, I guess, the third phase of cloud, or the third infrastructure design would be the hybrid. And maybe they want some dedicated for those important pieces like transaction processing or database or whatever.
Right.
And then some public for things that maybe aren't as mission critical or as secure intensive. Why would they choose hybrid over one of the other two?
Well, hybrid has a lot of advantages. The big thing to being that once again, it's not a shared resource, right? So if you have a application that's very I/O intensive, as an example, something like a database server, or you're doing Hadoop or Cassandra clusters, and you need that fast I/O, that's not really suited for cloud because of the shared nature of the stack. At least in public cloud, it will work in private cloud, but then you have to also take into account how it's going to affect all your other. All of your other puzzle pieces, versus where if you have dedicated gear and you're using the high I/O, high CPU, things in the dedicated side, and then you're bridging the gap with the public cloud, so that you don't have to have 10 machines on standby waiting, for your next big, advertising spike or your next big sale. You can spin those up as you need to in the public cloud, and realize the savings there. So you have that one physical box on the dedicated side, and then you go spin up what you need when you need it and utilize the benefits of public cloud.
So channel partners, just first of all, understanding how those pieces unfold, or still trying to understand that. I think a lot of us still are. There's different definitions and so on and so forth. But the next big thing is where they can fit into it. And so to some degree, maybe you've heard this, there's been concern in working with companies like Rackspace because they'd rather just provide that equipment to the customer, sell it to them directly, take down the revenue for that, as well as integrating it, setting up in their environment. How can they work with you? How can they make money with you selling these cloud solutions and still be relevant to their customers?
Well, that's the great thing about Rackspace is that we actually take our partner relationships very seriously. We have a very comprehensive partner program. It's easy to get involved, and then we provide our partners with all the resources necessary to make their job of actually selling the products very easy. So not just our managed hosting or our cloud hosting, but in addition to things like I mentioned, email and SharePoint, we provide white label services so that way you can brand that with your own logo if you prefer. And
would they still make revenue on
they
top
would,
of it?
they would still make
white label?
Right. So they would still make the revenue, and it just helps both of us. I mean, I think that our partners get us into areas where maybe we haven't been successful in the past, or maybe certain industries that are hesitant about using cloud computing or going to a big company like Rackspace because they don't feel like they're going to get the attention that they want. But with us being known for fanatical support, that doesn't only extend to our customers but to our partners as well. Right? We want to see that channel and ecosystem grow.
What types of services can they still provide? Do you have any sense of that? Like, are they still helping with designing the network at all? Are they able to do any integration? Are they able to do application development? Are they able to help maybe with process? Where can they still make some services? Because that's where they make a lot of their money.
Right. I think that the design portion is very crucial, especially right now with people unsure of where their best fit is going to be. I think the partner really has an opportunity to not only help their customer but help themselves by providing those design services and saying, this piece should go in private cloud, this piece should go in in a managed hosting environment, and this piece should go in public cloud. And if you're not already, if you're all in just dedicated right now, maybe we can look at some cost savings, for you by going into a mixture of public cloud and dedicated, or private cloud and dedicated. Rather than having that machine that's sitting there only 10% utilized, why don't we turn that into 100% utilization and really maximize what your capabilities are.
So it sounds like, in a nutshell, they can provide some of the upfront services and doing the design work. They can still get a piece of the pie in terms of the recurring revenue.
Yes.
By selling a white label solution with Rackspace as an example. A lot of some of the service and management of the infrastructure, you guys would take that on, but they can still be a resource for their customers in terms of managing the applications.
And we don't want to subvert that relationship at all, right? We want to maintain, our relationship is with the partner, and obviously providing support to the end user if that's what's requested of us from the partner. But our job or our goal is not to subvert the relationship that you have with your customers, but to enhance that relationship.
And they really need to, I guess, think about their business, because a lot of companies, I guess there's some statistics I was hearing at the show, there's less than 10% of enterprises have really implemented cloud at this time. So there's a lot of opportunity, but there's talk about 60% of companies are considering at least some kind of pilot in 2012. So they have to get on the bandwagon sooner or later.
Right, and I think it's very important for people out there to just be aware of the solutions and have a relationship in place if you don't already, with a company like Rackspace or, another company. I mean, obviously I would prefer that you do it at Rackspace, right? But if you don't already have that relationship, work on it, because like you said, it's going to be, I think companies and customers are realizing that there is a huge cost savings to be had, in public cloud.
Oh, excellent. I appreciate you taking the time. I know you got some things you got going on tonight that hopefully we'll see you later.
Great.
But appreciate your time and
thank
talking
you
to us about what Rackspace has to offer.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.